What is up, folks? Going to see if the old YouTube here show me some love. I don't think they will. I didn't have any notifications go out today, from what I understand. Got some interesting things going on. They were talking about making these federal employees mandatory that they get a jab. What's up, Alexander? Did you get a notification, man? What's up, Tech T? I guess everybody got notifications this time. Today I did some live streams, and it didn't appear that anybody got notifications. I was just bullshitting on there, though, about a couple different things. But I think people can see where the shit's going. These federal employees are forced to get a jab. What does that say? What does it mean? And how are people going to view that? I mean, there's 3 million. Is it 3 million federal employees? It's got to be more than that, right? I think there's 3 million. I think that was the number, 3.5 million or something. How many of them people are going to do what they told to do because they're told if they don't, they're going to lose their job. And then if that spills over into the private sector, which you already know it's going to, how's it going, Hank? Twiggy Bones? Is that only for those in the White House or is that feds or FBI? All federal employees, from the way I understand it, Twiggy Bones. So, for example, and contractors. So, like for an example, I have a buddy that is a federal contractor. He doesn't work for the federal government. He works for another company that is contracted out through the federal government. And he's been working at home for a year and a half. He would still have to possibly get that vaccine, even though he's working from home, simply because he is a contractor for the federal government. It's scary shit. I had a lady tell me her hubby is in the Air Force. I asked about the jab. She told me they have to follow what the government says. I asked about the guns also. She said, at the end of the day, they follow orders. Yeah, 100% they follow orders, man. I already know. My wife's friend, she has a friend that's in the military. She has a friend whose husband's in the military, and it's the same shit with them. So, Johnny Walster. Well, I mean, I get it, man. Like, I get it. If it meant that, if I had to choose between doing something, if I had to choose between letting somebody rape me or going to jail, I'm going to jail because I mean that's what a vax is. It's no different than me sticking my dick in somebody that don't want my dick in them and nothing. It's the job. My company made this vax. Good job. Oh, 100%. The J Rock, I can't see, man. I'm sorry. I think it's J Rock. um, I don't disagree with you, man. I mean, like things will work out. You know, you can't. You know, if you've been in a job, a lot of people have been in their jobs, especially people my age. I'm fortunate that I haven't because, like I say, fuck you, I'm getting ready to go back to work. But if I had, and they tried to mandate some shit, I wouldn't do it. There ain't no way. I even had a golden pass, and I threw that shit. I flushed it down the toilet just because I had said something to somebody about it. You know, worst case scenario, we can fake it till we make it. And they're like, well, that's kind of just buying into it, isn't it? I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I tore shit up and flushed it down the toilet. People are being brainwashed to blame all the DNC numbers. And where to go? All the new C numbers on that. Oh yeah, I know, Josh. Yeah, now it's a scamdemic of the unvaxxed. So we're going to be made the enemy. Um, you know, like we are seeing the unraveling of society. I think to a certain degree, maybe not though. Most people will just do as they're told, man. Plain and simple. They're going to do what they're told. They're going to do whatever they have to do to go with the flow, so they're not going against the grain, so they don't have to risk going to jail or losing their job or losing their house or whatever. I don't. I've been homeless before, man. And although I don't want my kids to be homeless, or we won't do it. I was sent the one that up down by four. Yeah, that shit's crazy, man. Let me just right here real quick. Hang on. Sorry, guys. What's up, side guy? No, you can get your tablet now. Then will you get Daddy a Mountain Dew, please, and bring it out to the garage? Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, baby. In a bit. Just go see what Trayden's doing. Is he playing or is he on his? All right, well, give me a Mountain Dew and I'll come in a minute and get you on it. Sorry about that, man. It's like my kids don't ever talk to me, and I turn the camera on. They're like, "Hey, Dad." Um, but it's scary shit, man. You know, like in the freest country in the world, government's telling you what you have to inject into your body. I think that I can't believe more people are not having a problem with this. You know, they say that there's 100 million people who are unvaxxed, but there's 330 million people in the country. What does that tell you? I don't think there's 200 or 230 million people. Or I mean, how many? What are they basing that number off of? Because I'm pretty sure that have they got one yet for people under 12, for kids under 12? I don't think they have. But if they have, who knows, dude? Like, who knows what's going to happen? Where this shit's going to go? I do know. I know I ain't doing it, and I'm willing to accept whatever consequences come my way from not doing it. Some people be like, you're stupid. I was just talking to my neighbor over here, Mexican dude. He speaks like broken English. Um, and their family got like 3 months ago. I'm like, why? Look around you. How many people you know that's died from this? Oh, I don't know. Nobody, man. I said, how many people you know has been sick from it? Oh, nobody, man. That's one person, man. But he had the flu, man. So he said to me, I said, so why'd you get it? He said, because they told me to. I said, so I think that's what, a lot of people, they put their faith in government, which is just insane. It's insane that in the same breath, they'll tell you how terrible government is and then tell you to do something the government tells you to do for another reason the government's telling you to do it. I mean, I think there's definitely enough evidence out there that should let people know that something's going on. We don't know what it is, but it's definitely not what they're telling us. Thank you, my sir. My sir. Huh? He's on work. Tell him he can play for a little bit right now, and then I'll let you play when I come in. I had to check my kids today with their schoolwork. They kept trying to get over on me. But, I mean, what if they make it mandatory everywhere? They start saying that jobs can, um, what's happened to HIPAA? HIPAA don't exist anymore. So, yeah, let's play. You can play for a little bit. How many you got done? How many you got done? Huh? Hey, trading. Get one more done, then you can play for a little bit. Huh? Tell me you can play for 30 minutes. Uh, it's dangerous, man. It sets a precedence, is what it does more than anything. And they won't stop. I mean, it will come. It will come down to they're going to have every let's look at the evidence. So you had the human flu was discovered in 1933. Since 1933, they have been guessing what strains of the human flu would be most prominent. Is that the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean, anyway. For whatever year, based off of whatever they go by. So then they give you a vaccine that gives you a small dose of this flu to make your body have the antibodies in order to fight this flu. So let's look at the last year. The FLU diagnoses dropped by 98%. You can look it up yourself. 98%. So if you look at the annual deaths in the country, every year because of back then, the population growth, which are now older people dying, every year you can add 3,000 to 5,000 more people who have died, this year than they did last year in this country. We're not that far above that number. We're at the high end of it, but we're not above it. It's not uncommon. So with all things considered, here's what I think. I think they use the media to scare the shit out of everybody. they started calling this FLUE something else, or UE, FLU. They started calling FLU something else and scared the shit out of everybody. But then you have to ask, why are they trying to push these jabs? I don't think enough time has went by for us to know yet. I think eventually we will know. And they're going to be like, well, we're sorry. We gave all these companies immunity. And if you don't remember, if you guys haven't listened to my cousin talk about this, my cousin works at, I think it's AstraZeneca. For some reason, that don't sound right. Whatever company he works at, they make a version of the jab. They make a version of it. It is the ones that he makes is approved in the EU. And the EU has stricter standards than the FDA does, than the US does. But it's not approved in the US. So your first question is why? If they go by stricter standards there than we do here, why is it approved there and not here? But go listen to him talk about it in those videos. If I can remember to find them, I'll try to post them down there, downstairs. But he's not taking it. He said, ain't no damn way. I would like to know an ingredient that is in all of them, that, all the known jabs, a common ingredient in all of them. I haven't had time to look it up. I really don't even want to dick with it, but I would like to know a common ingredient in it, because if I know a common ingredient in it, then I can be exempt from taking it. Dude, this just none of it makes any sense to me. None of it does. What's up, Paul? You want to come on, man? This is caused by bacteria. You want to come on here, Paul? My dog bit my lip today, little bastard. That's that was it. Yeah, I've had that in the shots before, man, but it was back when I would just take whatever. Tennis is not as common as it was still. It's only have about a 50-50 chance of recovery with tetanus deaths occur among infants. No shit. Let's see where that figure $5,000 only people antibodies. No, I haven't seen that, man. I haven't seen it. I'm going to put this link back up so Paul can come in when he comes back, because apparently he either bailed out or walked away from the computer. Click on that, Paul. Come back in. I like that. How they got reduce other treatment. All right, that's cool, Paul. Just tell me when you need the link. His company does a lot of shit. I wish I could remember the name of the company now. I want to say AstraZeneca, but I don't think that's it. They do a lot of work for. It's not uncommon for the EAU or whatever, like their FDA is over there, for them to be at his work. It's not uncommon. They're there all the time, he said. Oh yeah, 100% they are. I mean, they are. Did you all see the video from that was on Patriotic Constitutionalist channel? The only way I go is if they let my wife go. I know, it's the only way I go is if they let my wife go. What text say? So I'm reading comments, guys, while I'm talking to y'all. That makes it fucked up part of it. People are allowed in the room with you. In what room? No, I can't remember the name of it, man. It's a company that I hadn't heard of them talk about here, and obviously because they don't make the thing for the Vaxxer here. If I remember, I'll post it somewhere. I'll post it in the community tab or something if I remember. I have a couple of videos of him. I'll be over at his house this weekend, and when I go over there, I'll get him talking about it. Because like he don't get it either. I mean, even he's probably the smartest person I know, in all honesty, which is weird because he barely graduated high school, but he really is probably the smartest person I know. Um, he has the ability to think. Some people don't. I don't know. It's just scary times, man. I think that something has to happen, or life ain't looking too sweet for our kids. Oh, I don't know, J Rock. I've never heard that, man. Never heard it. Sounds like yeah. I mean, like, well, I mean, look what they're doing with that. Look at everything that's happening. Though it's not just one thing. It's not just like this is the only thing. They now have federal government's now having all these social media platforms decide who's extremists and who's uh, militias, and put them in this key database, which is going to eventually be turned into some type of social credit bullshit. Get on that thing and watch what happens. You'll be taking no flights. Have a good enough diploma? Yeah, I know. I have a GED and a high school diploma. I'm special. I don't know, man. It's just everything. You know, everything is coming at once. There's so much shit you can't stop it. People are worried about all the wrong shit. Call your congressman. You can see how that works out for my head just peeling up. I don't think that's my head peel. I think it's shit. I was up in the attic today, man. Man, you talk about hot. I bet it was 125 degrees up in my attic today. I had to get my kid to go up there, and I had to make him sit there for a minute while I did some other stuff down here. I felt so bad, but I had to get it done. 5 years of high school. I ain't too bad. Shit, you're better than I did. Yeah, it was boring to me too. That's why I did. That's why I did so shitty. And I was you know, when I wanted to, I got great grades. I wasn't interested in it. I went to work on cars and chase girls and shit. Oh yeah, Johnny. They've been doing that shit for years, man. The federal government has vans, probably in the states, but I know the feds do for sure. That can drive down the road and they can tell the different types of materials in your car. They'll scan it like an X-ray, and they can see the different materials and shapes of the materials and shape your car. You graduated top dropout. It's fun. I dropped out. I dropped out because of my back. I'd missed so much school. I was going to have to do another year, and I was like, kick rocks. I ain't doing that shit. I was emancipated anyway, so it didn't matter. I could have dropped out when I was 16. Um, but then I got my GED because of a job I had. I had to have my GED in order to have the job. And then I got paid by something. I forget what it was. I forget what I was doing now. But I got paid by somebody to go get my diploma. They didn't know I had my GED, so I went to this little Christian academy in Indiana, Greenberg Christian Academy, and I paid them $40 and took a 2-hour test, and I have a legit accredited high school diploma. Legit. Yeah, I think the same thing, Johnny. On the other side of that, there's some people that are so book smart they're stupid. You know what I mean? They can cite anything out of a book like I talked about today. But when it comes to just stupid shit like that I think's easy, that whatever, it they don't get it. 14, no shit. So, Are you serious, Sir Baden? Yeah, and like that could happen, man. So, somebody had mentioned that the other day in one of their videos. But what they left out is that AI. Well, I doubt AI will ever operate, unanimously on its own. It's always going to have a human influence. The problem will be is that the AI will be above the humans. Jolie Shaw, I don't, I get it, Jolie Shaw, I get it, but you're relying on a system that is broken to fix problems. I mean, it's part of the reason why we got here. Like here's it's this simple. I'm not getting vaxxed. If you want to try to vax me, well, I will tell you what you do. When you wake up in the morning, you kiss your kids. You hug them tight and tell them you love them. Then when you get to wherever y'all are going to suit up, you draw straws and pray to God you don't draw the short. Yeah, the education system's messed up right now. The government destroyed it. It's getting even worse now. They tried what was it called? Common Core. 2 + 2 = 17. You don't need to know the answer as long as you know how you got to the answer that you got. Fucking get out of here. Then now it's the CRT, the old critical. Oh wait, my bad. There's Paul. What's up, man?
Hey, not much. How you doing?
All right, man. Has anybody ever told you just how good looking you are?
Oh yeah, I get it every day.
Hey, you got to turn your speakers down. That back baby. Sorry.
That's all right. How's that? Better?
I think so.
All right.
Nope. Yeah, a little more, a little more. I got to keep talking so I can hear it.
Talk
I
one,
can't
two.
hear. I can't hear it. I can't. Can I hear it now? Nope. I
Hello.
can't hear. Can't hear it now.
All right.
Barely. I can barely hear it.
Yeah, that's as low as I can get it, probably.
No, you're good, man. No, you're good. You're good. It was just if it reverbs, then it just sounds crazy to everybody else. How you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah,
What do you,
I came out of the a post office box, or, the post office yesterday, and some guy's walking behind me, and he, he goes. He says, "Oh, it looks like you used to really hit the weights and stuff, huh?" And I turn around, look at him, and I'm like, "Dude, are you hitting on me, or what's going on there?"
he
You know,
asked you. He asked you been doing squats.
yeah, or something. It's like it was. I walked away going, "Man, I have no idea what was going on with that."
Hey man, you got some nice glutes there. You've been doing squats.
Yeah,
What do you think about this shit you're talking about the feds and the forcing the federal employees and contractors to vax?
I can't believe it. I mean, it. I can't even believe the forced vaccine thing. I mean, just we saw it. Everybody saw it coming, but I mean, it is so far against all the regulations that are in place, and then they just exempt, or not exempt, but change those regulations today or something.
I don't know, man. I was just talking about it with somebody else, so I don't know the whole spiel of it. I
Yeah,
just know I don't.
federal
Yeah.
health people or whatever said, yeah, no, you can. There's nothing wrong with that.
Did Biden go ahead and mandate it today?
Not that I've seen yet, but
I don't know if he has or not either. So we were just talking about it because they said they'd know tomorrow at their job that they were going to have to do it. Um, and it's just some scary, weird shit, man. And I can't believe that people are not raising 10,000 kinds of hell. The only country in the world where the people actually have a chance at saying no and nothing, man. You don't hear a peep out of nobody. I mean, in France, they're marching and everyone, you know what I mean? And just here, there's nothing to sit on our asses and say, well, is what it is.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. I don't understand it. I mean, and if you watch some of these other, uh, uh, the Patriot Constitutionalist, the video that he just posted, which I commented on your comment. I can't believe it's still up there. I mean, the only reason is because it's titled, in a way that the algorithm's not grabbing it. But I'm sure it'll be down after they hear everybody talking about it. But
Well, how is the algorithm not picking up what it says though?
well, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea why it's still up there. I mean, I tried posting something similar to it a little while, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and it wasn't even up for 30 seconds, and it was down, and it was just a
Well,
4 minute clip. And but anyhow, uh,
what do you think will happen if they do mandate it? Anything?
well, I don't know. I don't know how they. I mean, even if they do, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to do. I mean, you're not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. I mean, I know plenty of other people that aren't going to get it. I know a lot of people who have gotten their first shot that are actually terrified of getting their second shot. Now,
Why are they terrified?
well, because they're starting to, well,
Come around.
they're coming around. And it just happened to be in the mix where they're starting to see some of the truth. And the one lady I talked to that just comes to mind is two of her people that she knew got the second shot, and within a day they were both dead from blood clots.
No shit.
And they're waiting to get their second shot. Her and her husband, and they're elderly, they're 70, but but they're forcing you to do it. I mean, if you want to travel, if you want to go, if you're doing missions trips or anything like that, they're going to get you. I think I agree that. Well, we've talked about it before, but I really think that we're going to see checkpoints. If they do the mandatory paperwork thing, which it's just a matter of time, we're going to see checkpoints and everything. I mean, in France today, they just reported that if you get pulled over and if you don't have vaccination paperwork or proof you're vaccinated, they arrest you immediately, and you go to prison. Or they said prison. I don't know what that means over there, but
I mean, prison, prison.
until you get vaccinated.
Yeah, 6 months. If you're just like a person, like a citizen, 6 months in prison. If you're a business owner and don't I forget how it's worded. If you serve people who are unvaccinated, it carries up to like a year in prison over there. But I mean, they do that shit here, and it's game on. At that point, what do you have to lose? Every time you walk out your door, you're literally risking your freedom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many people's like me, but here's kind of how I feel about it. I've done my time. I'm not going back to a cage. Period. I don't care if you told me it was going to be for 24 hours. I'm not going back to a cage.
I think there's a lot of people that are in that same mindset, but it's something that we've always talked about too. As it comes down to, the 1%, who's actually really willing to stand up for what they believe, and I don't know. I mean, depending on the situation, but. I don't know, man. I can't really predict what's going to happen right now.
Fuck, nobody can anymore. Shit's so crazy that you just don't know. I just can't believe it's gotten this far, man. I can't believe that in this country, all the bullshit that these people throw and say they believe in and that they say they're against, and then it's gotten as far as it's gotten. I mean,
Yeah,
it must be
breathing
must be
sunshine just Pop that one up.
Huh?
Pop up breathing sunshine's comment.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, Breathing Sunshine. Like, it's just here's my position on it. If something like that happens over here, if they come out with some, vax passport or some bullshit like that, there's no sense in even trying to work around their laws they have in place at that point. You know what I mean? Like I said, every time you walk out the door, you're literally taking your life into your own hands, walking out the door. Not because you're doing anything wrong, it's because you leave your home. And it's probably only a matter of time before they start going to homes, finding out people who haven't been back.
Yeah, they've already talked about that. Biden's door-to-door campaign. But yeah, I can't believe where we're at. I mean, I'm kind of speechless. It. I don't see it here, but it's coming. And especially when you start looking at the, people talking or who was it? The Australian News Network. They're getting a lot of time on different of the different YouTube channels because they're calling it like it is. It's kind of funny to watch them
Right.
calling Biden out, and Tim Pool's talking about it, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, they're in their damn houses watching Gays and Gizmos or something sexy. Them people, man, it blow my mind. I don't know, man. I think it's coming. It's definitely coming. There's no way it can't. If all these other countries are mandating this shit, they're going to have to mandate it here just so to appease those other countries. If not for no other reason. They'll have to do it for that reason because there's so many people in this country that fly international that they're going to have to do it just for that reason.
Right.
I think at that point, people should already know what they're doing. But at that point, you better know what you're doing, where you're going.
Yeah, it's going to happen fast. I mean, it's and it seems like in a way people have already kind of stopped talking about getting food, getting water, prepping. I don't know. It just seems like that's kind of fallen out of the way a little bit.
Right.
And I mean, it's going to hit us blindsided really fast. The ammo prices, they've come down tremendously. Some of the wood prices have come down, but it's like a little bump. It's a lull before something happens, because if you look at the shelves, if you ever go to just the gas stations, I mean, and you look around and open up your eyes, I mean, there's whole shelves that are completely empty. There's whole products that are gone completely, and it's like, where is that? It doesn't really make sense, but something's disrupting the chain of delivery in the food chain, and
things intentional.
Well, I think it's just lack of stuff. I think it's some people are talking today about the gas hitting, was it $7 or something somewhere, fuel, and the lack of truckers, trucking stuff.
There's not a lack.
There's
not a lack of truckers, man. It's not because of a lack of truckers.
Well, there will be a lack of truckers if you got to get a vaccine passport to go over, at every truck stop.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean,
Go ahead,
if I were truckers, would you do it? I mean, no. So we're done trucking. Right. That could happen overnight. What if what if
That still don't account for that gas prices though. I mean, maybe in California it might be that much. I mean, here,
I just heard it in passing on the radio. I don't know where that came from, but
oh, well, how much are they? How much is it where you're at?
um, they're under three, about
Oh,
290, 295,
yeah,
which I don't have a problem with.
we just broke $3 last week. Well, shit, you should. I remember when it was 88 cents a gallon.
Yeah, I don't know. That's better. It's better. Um, there are on a side note, you know what, like a cooperative, the old co-ops out in the country. I remember, I don't know if they still do it or not, but you could go out and you could purchase X amount of fuel from them for a certain price. So you could, if you're a farmer, you could say, well, I want to lock in that price, and here's $3,000 for
Yeah,
that gas, and then they could get that until that 3,000 was spent. The co-op sold them that gas for that price, or fuel or whatever, and yeah, I don't know. Wish if I had extra money, I'd be doing stuff like that all the time.
yeah. The problem with it now is that with all the ethanol in it, man, it's hard to keep.
Yeah, it really is.
Harder anyway. Best chance you have is in the real jerry can, the real
Yeah,
metal jerry can.
well,
Because
I'd love to have a 500-gallon tank on my property, full of gas or gas and diesel for that matter. But
right, I need to get this truck going. Speaking of diesel, I got this. My neighbor asked me if I wanted to do something tomorrow. He thought I had the truck running, but I can't. So I haven't run. I need to get it running, get back to work.
which one is that? The
That door,
Oh, okay, that's a diesel.
yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
about 7.3.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but I got to rebuild the front axle on it. And, I definitely have to rebuild the front axle on it and change the turbo seals on it. And the oil pan, it needs the oil pan changed bad. I could probably patch it up to make it last a little longer. And eventually I got to find the lift and do it. And right now, for the prices of vehicles right now, man, I can't even afford to buy a used vehicle right now.
Right.
You know, the prices are, especially the prices are fucking through the roof. I mean, there's people that are bought cars last year, drove them for a year, and they're now selling them for $10,000, $15,000 more than what they paid for them.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, it's insane. Like, this is the only time in probably history you can drive a car off the lot and make money off of it.
True. I mean, and I do know that the RV dealerships, they have nothing for stock or anything in them right now. Uh, the used stuff. So all that stuff's selling right away.
Yeah, Breathe the Sunshine. My buddy, I've had this truck I sent out from my house for 3 or 4 months. I borrowed it, and it was broke when I borrowed it. And I didn't know that until I borrowed it, and I realized it was broke. But my buddy was wanting to sell it, and at the time, I thought it was too much for the truck. Which I hope he's alive because I've been trying to get a hold of him for the last week, and he won't return my phone calls. Um, and I hate saying that, but he's got real bad health problems. But anyway, last time I talked to him, I told him I was just going to fix it and buy it. And he said, "All right, just let me know what you can pay me or when you can pay me or whatever. Just give it to me when you got it." One of those kind of things. And I normally wouldn't do that because I hate owing people money, but I know that he wouldn't be bringing down my neck about the money. It's been sitting in front of my house for 4 months. He obviously doesn't really give a shit about it. You know what I mean? So, but it's got issues. The front end needs rebuilt, like I said, and then it needs turbo pedestal seals. I already bought the H-pop rebuild kit for it, and then it needs. I have an oil pan for it. I got a brand new oil pan for it, but I can't find a lift high enough that I can use to change the oil pan out because I got to pull the cab off the truck to change the oil pan out. So once I get all that figured out, I'll restart the truck.
Right.
Yeah, but it's got the 7.3 in it too. Bring the Sunshine. Like those motors, they always go 500,000, and I've seen them go. I've seen a bunch of them go a million. So
My Volkswagen GTI went 500,000.
diesel.
No, just a gas engine.
Oh,
I
yeah. I
beat the
mean,
crap out of it too.
I got 300,000 on my Grand Prix, man. I need to get thinking with that too. I've been investing all my effort into this house lately. You know,
Yeah, the best car I've ever had actually was a Saturn SL1.
but,
We bought it. Well, the ex bought it new, and I had 450,000 miles on it, and I'm not even joking. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't change oil in it ever because it actually started burning oil. But I mean, if I changed the oil filter every 60,000 miles, that's about what it was. I mean, and then I just kept putting. It got so bad on eating oil. I just whatever my buddies had for used oil, when they changed their oil every 2,000, I just took all their oil, and that's what I
right,
put in it. And it just kept running and running and running. The only thing that ever, I mean, needed brakes and alternator, water pump once, radiator once, but other than that, I mean, it never. It's probably still out there today. I mean, it's amazing.
problem with Saturns is they were like really hit or miss. You either got a good one or you got a bad one. There wasn't
That's
no
true.
in between. Huh?
That's true.
Yeah,
We
like
When I was in the business, we called that you had a Friday in motorhomes. We called them a Friday coach or a Monday coach. So, or something in between. The good ones were Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But if you got one that hit the line on a Friday, those guys they just half-assed it to get it off the line. And
right.
then Monday they come in there all hung over, so they screwed shit up on it. So
Yeah, motorhomes are another thing, man. Like motorhomes are. There's a lot of people get screwed on motorhomes because they don't know what they're looking for.
oh yeah, really the only way that you can safely be in a motorhome, and unless you have money, is you have to be handy. You've got to be able
Right,
to fix everything. And if you can do that, it's a it's a real it's viable. But if you can't do that, the extra added costs of it being on the road will I mean, it'll kill you. But that
right,
goes with houses too. I mean, you know,
right.
it's part of their budget, I guess.
Oh, you got I'm sorry, my kiddo walked out here.
That's right.
He's out here chilling with me. So we went out last night and we got to ride his four. But that little thing's fun, man. That new one we got.
Yeah, I saw the videos. You guys screaming around on that thing.
Oh, I knew what I wanted to talk to you about now, man. I wanted to talk to you about something else earlier. Call me when we hang up here, and remind me it's about August.
Okay.
That's what I was wanting to talk to you about. I don't know why I just remembered that just now. But back to the jab thing, man. I think that people are if your line isn't that if they make that if they mandate that if that's not your line, then you don't have a line. Just kind of my opinion of it.
Well, it I mean, I don't understand. I've never understood the mask mandate. It's made. I mean, I've been in hazmat my whole life, and in order for us, and I mean, I've had my own company for 5 years. I've worked. I mean, well, you know my resume. It's pretty extensive,
Yeah,
but you. I mean, in order to even wear a respirator of any kind, I mean, even a paper one, technically speaking, if you go up to just any other, the plastic respirator with cartridges in it, in order for an employer to have you wear that, you have to pass a physical. You have to have doctors sign off on it, and you have to have pulmonary tests and everything else that go along with it. Otherwise, you cannot, as an employer, you can't make anybody wear that. It's not possible. And then you get a card saying you can wear this for 6 months. Every 6 months, you have to have a physical that reapproves you to wear it again. And it's a health issue. And what happened to that? You have to. I have for my company. I had to have. Shit, it was 180 pages of documentation for respirator in our whatever you call it, the I'm drawing a blank, but this policy and procedures manual. And OSHA covers all that. There's an OSHA line covering every single bit of that. Um, and let alone the fact that it doesn't do anything anyhow. A face mask of any kind, your eyes are more susceptible to a coronavirus than anything. Your eye is basically a liquid lung that's sticking out of your face. So
Right.
somebody coughs. So I've always said, first of all, where was that? That never was, where was the concern for all the health issues of the people? And if you really want to be safe, you have to put a mask on and have some kind of eye covering, and then it would be legitimate. I mean, you could actually do something then to protect yourself, but you're not protecting anybody else, because if you have it, you're blowing it out. And if you actually look at some of the state requirements for face coverings, they it's the little valves people put in there so it breathes out easier. Every state mask mandate says in them that those are banned. You can't do that. Well, I mean, how it was so unprofessional, unlegal, illegal. It just makes no sense. And now they're going to the reporting thing, and the medical reporting stuff, and I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, if I had a business, I mean, I don't know.
How are they going to get that off of HIPAA?
They can't. It's well, I don't know. I mean, they just said something today that the federal government approved. They haven't rewritten the HIPAA procedures. I mean,
Right.
that's in law. You're talking thousands of lines of technical laws that if you and I don't follow HIPAA, are you kidding me?
Right.
We're going to be fined till we go out of business, and then they're going to take every cent we have. If we didn't.
Somebody had said earlier, and I remember reading this too, that in 1905 or 1908, the Supreme Court ruled that I think it was a town. They ruled that a forced vaccine was constitutional for the public safety, of course. But I don't give a fuck about that. The Supreme Court is not the last. They don't have the last say. The people do.
Right. I was just reading Booga Squirrel's comment there, but that's the the valves are ridiculous. The whole mask thing is ridiculous. I mean, from the bottom line, from just one point, is if your eyes aren't covered, it's we're not talking about it anymore. But I mean, if your eyes aren't covered, you're not protected from anything.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And
Right.
I mean, you can be taught. I mean, simple teaching in in order to deal with hazardous material, in biological material. If you're going to work with any of that stuff, you have to have. Have you ever taken a HAZWOPER 40 training? They call it. It's any employee that's going to do any kind of going to be involved with any kind of hazardous material, biological, chemical, whatever, radiological. You have to have HAZWOPER, a 40-hour HAZWOPER course, and your employer's got to pay for it. It costs $800. Last time I checked, it's probably $1,000 by now for each employee, and then you got to get it redone every year. And out of all that's all the respirator stuff and all that stuff. That's included in a lot of that. But where's all that in this? The dealing with biologicals, and when do you change your mask out? How do you change your mask out safely? It just I could go on for hours on that whole subject. But
I know, man. I know it. We're out. Looks like Yeah, every time I sit down, my eyes start getting heavy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's scary though. I think that if your line is not this, then people just don't have a line, man. And I'm afraid they don't. I'm afraid people are just going to do what they give the same old excuses. I got a family, or I got a house I got to pay for. Jimmy needs gym shoes, or whatever the case may be. But they want to justify it. And it's going to be because of their job, and what it all boils down to is they're slaves to their own debt. They have no choice but to go to work. At least they think they don't anyway.
Yeah, well, it comes down to everybody's sheep, man. I mean, 99% on the road, they're all sheep. I
Yep.
mean, yeah, we're all sheep to an extent, even though we don't like to think we are. But
No, I
yeah,
agree.
so
So what I have to ask you, because we haven't talked about this, what's your take on a social contract?
I don't what?
Social contract. So the idea was here. The background to the conversation was policing forces. Their position was because of the social contract, policing forces are okay. My position is there's no such thing as a social contract because I'm part of the society, but I can't opt out. And if there is a such thing as a social contract, it's mob rules. So you believe in the mob rule mentality if you believe that there's a such thing as a social contract.
Yeah, I haven't even heard the social contract thing, but there's no such thing as a social contract. I mean,
Right.
that's.
A
I
cop
mean,
out.
yeah, yeah. I don't even. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Eh, And again, I mean, even our own rights are not enforceable by the police or anybody. They're given by God, and that's it. And then and you know, with,
Well, there,
but
but
social contract,
the
I'm not
problem is
signing that.
the person with the most force decides what privileges you have and what rights you have. If it's just you, well, here's what I said. I said, me and three of my friends or three people on my street decided that you got to give us all part of whatever wealth you have, and we included you in that contract just because, for no other reason than just because. So now you have to do that, right? And they didn't agree with that, but that's what they're saying. If society says this is okay, then we have to, because we're part of the society, we have to go with the flow of it.
Right? That doesn't exist.
Right? It doesn't exist, and that was my point. If it did exist, then that would mean you don't have rights, and you agree with mob rules.
Right? I mean, in mob rules when it's a mob. I mean, from a perspective, but it doesn't. I mean, that's not
Right,
right.
right,
You
right.
know,
Well, they
I mean,
disagreed.
who's got the bigger mob?
They said they were not pro mob rule because
That's
I said
exactly what they are, though.
right. That I said the same thing. Because if you're pro mob rule, hold on, it gets better. If you're pro mob rule to at least some degree, you're pro socialism. And then also I said, oh, well, then I was told that I have stupid people validating my foolish opinions. I've been hanging out with too many stupid people that validate my foolish opinions.
All right.
That's what I said to him. Like, whatever, dude.
I love being one of them stupid people.
I know. I was just curious what your take was on it. You normally have a pretty
Well, no,
you know
that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. I mean, it's in the top 10 for sure.
right. Well, I mean, then you like apply it to this. Okay, society wants everybody to have this jab. Does that mean that you got to do it? If you believe in the social contract, it would mean that you have to do it, right? Because society says so. But it's one of those terms, like I said, it's kind of like there's two things. Like, so it's used as a cop out. Well, it's used when it benefits you, but not when it doesn't benefit you. No, it doesn't apply. But then it's also like BLM. What, you don't think Black Lives Matter? Like, how do you argue against it? You know what I mean? The only way you can argue against it is to say it doesn't exist. And if you like mob rules, then that means you don't have rights. So why are you acting like you have rights? It just blows my mind what people are willing to say so that they don't have to be honest with themselves. And that's what it boils down to. Whatever is going on in their mind, they don't want to be honest with themselves about what they are, what they support.
Right. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, anybody, and I've done this is my go-to at any time when somebody actually tells me that Black Lives Matter. I say why, and
What do they say?
well, I before they you know get totally physical with me after a question, I'm just like, well, why? I've been asked that on the street, or I've been asked that. I've asked that on the street, um, and they say Black Lives Matter, and I get up from what I'm doing. I'm like, why? And they, well, you know, they don't have a response. Well, if I'm going to go around, all I can say is if I'm going to go around and preach something, Black Lives Matter, and you come up to me and you say why, I'm going to have an answer for you. Right. I can have an answer for you right now why Black Lives Matter. Everybody freaking matters. All lives matter. Are you kidding me? I mean, you know, that would be, I would even hesitate to say that. But they look at me like, what? And they're, you know, rather than answer the question, you know, they answer in stupidity. You know, that's good. And it's just an example of how you expose their hypocrisy, you know.
Right.
And
well, I mean, now they're making it so that like it's just everything's going on right now, man. I mean, we're about to be the next South Africa under not only that, but then we're going to be under a completely authoritarian and totalitarian government, while you're having a large portion of the country supporting it directly, another large portion of the country unknowingly supporting it directly, and then I mean, the few people that are left, what are they going to do? I mean, how do you run from it? If you live on a street and you're the only person on that street that's not vaxxed, I mean, how do you make that work? If you go into a grocery store, you have to be vaxxed. I mean, today, how do you make that work? I mean, I know like we should all grow our own food and we should be self sufficient. I get all that. There's a lot of people like myself that are behind the curve on that. I'm more than a year behind the curve on even being able to grow a garden, probably. Like what do you do? What do you do?
The society right now can't even. I mean, that there's tons of people out there, and they discuss that subject of we should be doing our own gardens. We should be doing, which that'd be great. But if you start running numbers, it makes no sense. It's not even possible. I mean, I don't have the notes are out in my truck right now, but I mean, just going off the top of my head, somebody was talking about feeding people X amount, but in Minneapolis, there's X amount of people in Minneapolis right now. In that group of people, they consume 11.5 million chickens a year. Okay, that's just chickens. That doesn't include beef. That doesn't include lettuce. That doesn't include whatever, tuna. I mean, that's 11 million chickens. Where the hell do you get 11 million chickens from? I mean, that's just for Minneapolis. That doesn't include St. Paul or Brooklyn Center or Anoka. I mean, holy crap! And so you want us to go out to the woods and shoot deer, and that's what somebody was talking about. They were shooting deer, or venison, and it's like the venison population in Minnesota would need to be 10 times larger than what it exists. Just to feed a quarter of the state, we'd have to kill every deer in Minnesota. And then what do we do? I don't know. We got ourselves into a corner. The people are going to what was it, 2 years? People are going to die. People are going to die. And somebody just chimed in on Discord a couple hours ago. I can't remember who it was. Thankfully, we don't get a whole lot of crap on there, but yeah, Chewy. And he said the Amish way of life doesn't look too crazy anymore. They wouldn't have to change anything if society collapsed. Well, yeah, I mean, he's right, or she, I don't know. But the problem with that is the Amish would never survive a collapse. They're not, they're too passive. They get rolled right over.
You
Not
think
by you
so?
or I, not by you or I, but how are they going to protect themselves? And you think they can protect their society from a mob of hungry people?
I
They're
don't
not.
know.
I mean, that's not part of their. Some sects are of them, but in general, and that's something I struggle with. It's like, where do you draw the line? But yeah, I don't know, man. Life's dangerous. The bottom line.
Oh yeah. But how do we come out? At least give ourselves the best position to come out on top. You know what I mean? At this point, at this point, you don't have a garden. At this point, you don't have the land to grow all of your own food. How do you get yourself in the best position today to be where you need to be at tomorrow?
Right now, the best thing you can do, depending on the size of your family and what you have, I mean, if you don't, in my personal, I've got enough food right now in my motorhome that I could live here for a year and not have to go to the store. I've got enough food for myself for 1 year.
So
That's
if I
that.
so, so if I come there and bring the kids and the wife, we got enough for 2 months.
Yep, that's all right. We can go get more of that.
I got about enough for 3 months for us.
But I
If
mean, if you
if I
don't
get
have a year's
supplement.
supply of food for your family, you don't have enough.
Right. I mean, a year's supply of food for 4 people takes up a lot of space.
Well, it does and it doesn't. I mean, they've got these, the freeze dried 5 gallon drums. You can get quite a bit. I mean, you come
Very
prepackaged. It's
expensive.
expensive, but you get
Very
well.
expensive.
I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, if you don't have it for X amount, if you don't have anything, you're really foolish.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess that if you can, whatever the max, how much is too much ammo, like they say. Well, as
All of
much
it.
as you can have, yeah, all of it. So um, there's a point, but it's, I think, like we talked about, it comes down to community, and the problem is we haven't hit the point where we're all gonna dump what we have and move into a community. It's gonna be too late, honestly, when that happens. We're all gonna be going, oh shit, we should have done that.
Right.
Um, but in the long term, the only way we can come back from any of this is if we start to if we find an area wherever it is, and I don't know how many people are watching, but if the group of us, you know whether we're together or not, we we join, we work our way up, we join the city councils, we get on those town boards, and we eradicate the complete idiocy that's in there, and then take it over, and make a plan. Like that plan's been in place for the whoever's doing it. I mean, I don't want to put a label on it, progressives, but we need to. It's a long term survival thing. I mean, and for a guy like me, I don't even. I mean, what's the options? I don't. You know, I like to be mobile, so it.
Right.
I'd have to sink my feet in somewhere, which I'm not opposed to, buying property and then sinking my feet in.
And well, I think if it got like that, um, I don't think you would be as opposed to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you're going to be really mad when I run for sheriff in our community.
So why? I want to be king.
You'll be
Why
my
not be mayor?
VP or whatever you call it.
I mean, like the problem you run into now with a lot of people is that they've already started building whatever it is that they have, and everybody's just so spread out. And I get it. I get that. Some people have already started, and they're not going to. If they sold what they have, they wouldn't be able to move somewhere else right now and at least get what they got now. I get that. I mean, like you don't want to make sacrifices, man, we're not going to make it through this.
Right.
There's no chance. There's just no chance of it. You're going to make it through it. Whether it be you're kicked out of society because you refuse to get a jab, whether it be because shit goes completely sideways and then you're now having to fight for yourself, whether it be because you're now an extremist and they come kick in your door. I mean, all roads end with us. You know, they're not going to care about the dude that does what he's told. They're going to keep people that don't.
Right. And there's people that are living off the grid right now that are way more prepared than you and I, and
Oh
they
yeah,
have no idea who they are. I mean, they might a little bit, but you know, uh, but they're so far off the radar. Uh, you know, those are the guys with the money and the deep, you know, the underground bunkers and all that good stuff. But
well, here's the thing about them though, man. If shit ever goes sideways like that, they won't survive because they won't have it in them to find that. You know, how do I say it? I don't want to sound like I'm an asshole or sound like I'm evil. Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to people are going to have to be willing to do shit that they never thought they would do. And if you're one of the people that complies with the social contract, or you just do as you're told and bite your tongue all the time, and you have your whole life, you know, if you're that 6-year-old that's going to punch anybody in the mouth for any reason, why would things change for you?
right,
Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
well, yeah, they're not going to change. But I don't. I
Well,
guess
I think what I'm saying is a lot of them are just prepping for whoever comes to take their shit.
yeah. Um, True, and the other thing, I mean, I know it's just TV and movie stuff, but uh, you know, if you look at some of these different apocalypse movies, and you know, your Walking Dead and your the 100, and which if nobody's watched the series The 100, I thought it was a great TV show. I don't know what it was on now, but it had a really bizarre ending. It got a little weird there in the end, but it was bizarre. Um, but you know, these groups of people will be traveling around, and they'll find these bunkers people left, you know, that are just, you know, it didn't do them any damn bit of good. They'll find this fully in the movies. I'm saying, you know, they're just traveling across, trying to find somewhere. Next thing you know, they find a bunker full of food that somebody set up, and you know, that's what I feel like. What you're talking about is prepping like that really has no purpose for those specific people. You know, is that
Well,
what you're
I
saying?
think like you know, if things were to ever go sideways like that, man, I mean, you're going to have to find it. You're going to have to dig deep inside your soul, man, and literally do shit you never thought you would do. I mean, at that point, who's an enemy? Everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
So, you know, what are you willing to risk? You know, I know at some point you would have to be, um, you know, maybe meet communities or people to barter with or trade with or whatever. But until shit calm down, everybody's an enemy. So, are
Right.
you willing to make that choice? You know, it's just like it's you know, you have to think about it's you alone and you run across this backspeed real bad for some reason.
Test one too.
Uh, no, it's me. I can hear me through your speakers, not you. I'm sorry,
You sound fine to me.
but the people, you know, if shit goes sideways and it's you and your family, and you happen to run across another family of some for some reason. Well, what's your plan? I mean, like, I don't think people have thought about that. They have this fantasy of shit hits the fan, everybody's going to run to the woods and be happy go lucky, and I'm going to trade with you, and you're going to trade with me, and we're going to live happily ever after, and government's going to leave us alone. And I don't think it's just going to go down that way. Even if it went that way, I don't think it would go down that way. I think that a lot of people that are they're preparing for something that they're never going to live through, just for the simple fact that they don't have it in them to find a way to live through it or to do what they would have to do to live through it. No different than you know this vax shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, nobody in the city is going to run to the country. I mean, they'll never. They might make it 10 miles, but they won't make it over that. I mean, it'll be mass. It'll
Yeah.
well, it'll be interesting when it happens.
You think it will?
Yeah, I do. I mean, something's got to break. Um, I I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's going to happen. Look at Venezuela. I mean, we can't even see what's happening there. I mean, those people they're risking everything. The people in Venezuela just to get across the border. I mean, it's not even reported the millions and millions of people that are seeking asylum in the border countries that are all poverty. Those guys are third world countries. They're seeking asylum in. Venezuela is just, I mean, it's horrible. Cuba, same thing. I mean, and they shut down. I mean, it's just, if you can't see the writing on the wall, you're blind. I mean, yeah, everybody come out from Honduras, which makes no sense at all to me because I've been to Honduras about 15 times, and there's no reason to leave Honduras. Honduras it's a third world country, but nobody starves in Honduras. Everybody's fat in Honduras. There's no food shortage. I mean, there's food. If you stick a vine in the ground, literally in 3 days, it's got fruit on it. I mean, it's a bizarre. It's the it's the rainforest. There's nobody starving in Honduras. They may have horseshit economy, and everybody makes, you can pay somebody $3 to come and work for you for all day long, but there's nobody's starving. They're all fat. They all got kids and they're all fat. It's not like Africa where it's just sand and crap, and some of these other places, but and even Guatemala is worse than Honduras, but Mexico is give or take too. But again, but for them to let those people in the country, in the U.S., our current administration, and then not let the Cubans in the country. I mean, if you can't see the difference and the reason why, or at least ask yourself, why aren't they doing that? Well, because the Cubans come in and they say, are you kidding me? Communism, do you realize what it is, people? You're idiots.
Right.
And that's not the case it's all political. It's all being staged. Everything you see is fake. I mean, here we are again. What are you going to do?
Right. All this to do, man.
Amen.
But man, I'm going to jump off here, brother. I'm falling asleep sitting here. I got to get back up and get this room done. But you can't call me here. Just call me whenever we hang up.
I'll call you right now.
All right. Yeah, give me about 3 minutes and call me, please.
Well, just call me when you're ready.
All right, later, brother. See y'all later.